Rose Williams, interviewed in Fort Worth, Texas. Interviewer not identified. Age when interviewed 90. What statement I's made and the facts. I's not going to Huntsville, Texas State Prison for nothing. If I's one day old, I's 90 for sure. I's born in Bell County, Texas, and am owned by Mr. William Black. He owned my mammy and pappy too. I's too small to have the correct memorandum, but I's remembers when the war starts. I's herding sheep and turkeys and tending chickens and such. Master Black had quite a large plantation, but he owned more niggas than he needs for work on his place, 'cause he am a nigger trader. He trades, buys, and sells all the time. Master am awful cruel. He whips the colored folks, works them hard, and feeds them poorly. We's have for rations the cornmeal, milk, lasses, beans, and peas. We's had meat twice a week. There am not tea or coffee and such as white flour. We's don't know what that looks like. We's have to work in the fields every day from daylight till dark, and on Sunday we do the washing. Church shucks. We don't know what that means. I's members hearing the folks talking about the war starting when Master Black sold we mama and pappy and powerful glad to be sold, except these worry about being separated. But my folks wanted to be sold to some good master. Mammy, pappy, and I's put on the block with about 10 other niggas. When we gets to the trading block, there was a lot of white folks there that came to look the slaves over. I believe there was about 50 niggas there for sale. The white folks am looking this one and that one over there, and one man that shows interest in Pappy, him named Hawkins. He talked to Pappy and Pappy talks to him and says, "Them am my women and childs. Please buy we eyes portly and strong as the mule." He then says, "A likely looking nigger, but there are more than eyes wants, eyes guess." They sale starts, and that went long till Pappy and put on the block. Master Hawkins wins the bid for Pappy, and when Mammy and put on the block, he also wins the bid for her. Then there am 2 or 3 other niggas sold before my time comes. Then Master Black calls we us to the block. The auction man says, "How much am I's offered for this poorly strong young wench? She never been abused and will make a good breeder." I wants to hear Master Hawkins bid, but him says nothing. 2 other men am bidding against each other. I sure have the worriment there, and tears coming down my cheeks 'cause I's been sold to some party that would cause separation from my mammy. One of the builders bid 500, and the auction man am asking, "Do I's hear more?" She am going at 500. Then someone says 525. No one bids higher, and the auction man says she am going for 525. She am going for 525. She am sold for 525 to Master Hawkins. and eyes glad and excited, while eyes quivering all over. Master Hawkins took we us to his place, and it am a nice plantation, lots better than Master Black's. There am about 50 working niggers on that place. The first thing the master does when we us gets home and give we us rations and a cabin. White man use believe this nigger when I says the rations was a feast for we us. There was plenty of meat, some tea, and a little coffee. I's never taste white flour before, nor the coffee. Mammy made some biscuits and fixed some coffee. Well, the biscuits was yum yum to me, but the coffee I's don't like. The quarters for the colored folks am about like it am on Master Black's place. There am 12 cabins and all made from logs with just a table, benches, bunks for sleeping, and a fireplace for cooking in the heat. There am no floor, just the ground. Master Hawkins never forces the niggers to work on Saturday afternoon or on a Sunday, except when they am rushed with the work, and he never overworks his colored folks. There am as much difference than Master Hawkins, Master Black in the way of treatment as there is between the Lord and the devil. Master Hawkins allows his niggers to have reasonable parties, allows them passes for to go places, and allows them to go fishing sometimes. But we never am taken to church, and there am no books on the place for learning. So there am no education for the niggers. There am one thing that Master Hawkins does to me that eyes cannot shut from my mind. Eyes know that he don't do it for meanness, but eyes will always hold it against him. What he done and forced me to live with nigger roughers against my wants. After I am at Master Hawkins' place about a year, the master comes to me one day and says, "You's going to live with roughers in that cabin over there." Him points out the one and tells me to fix it for living. I was about 17 years old then, and of course had no learning. I was just ignorant child. I thought that him means for me to separate from my folks and tend to the cabin for roughers and some other niggas. Well, that ain't the start of investigation for me. I took charge of the cabin after my work am done and fix supper. Then I goes here and there and talks to other folks till I's ready for sleep. And then I's go and fix my bunk. After I's in the bunk, that nigga comes and crawls in the bunk with me before I's knows what he am a doing. What use me, use fool nigga. A getting in my bunk, I says to him, "Hush, use mouth. This am my bunk too," he says. "Use touched in the head, get out." I told him, and I puts my feet against him, give him a shove, and out he goes on the floor before he knows what eyes are doing. That nigga jumps up and act he mad. He looks like a wild boar. He starts for the bunk where eyes is, and eyes jump quick for the poker. It am about 3 feet long, and when he comes at me, eyes let him have it over his head. Did that nigga stop in his tracks? I say he did. He looks at me steadily for a minute. You could tell him am thinking hard about me. Then he goes and sits on the bench, says, just wait, yous think it am smart, but yous foolish. In the head, they's going to learn you something. Hush yo's big mouth and stay away from this nigga. That's all Eyes wants. Eyes says to him and just sits and holds that poker in my hand, and he just sits and looking like the bull. There we sits for about an hour. Then he goes out and Eyes bar the door. The next day I goes to the missus and tells her what Ruffus wants to do. The missus says they am the master's wishes. She says, yous am a portly girl and Ruffus am a portly man. The master wants you for to bring forth portly children. I was thinking about what the missus says about, but says to myself, I's not going to live with him. That night when Ruffus comes in the cabin, I's grab the poker and sits on the bench and says to him, keep away from me, nigga. For I's bust you's brains out and stomp on them. He says nothing and leaves the cabin. The next day the master calls me to him and tells me, woman, I's pay big money for yous and I's done that for the cause. I wants yous to raise me chillins. I's put yous to live with Ruffus for that purpose. Now if yous don't want to be whipped at the stake, yous do what I wants. I think about the master buying me off the block and save me from being separated from my folks and about being whipped at the stake. There it am. What am I to do? So I decide to do as the master wishes, and so I yield. When we am given the freedom, Master Hawkins tells all us colored folks that we could stay and work for wages or sharecrop the land. Some of the folks stayed and some of the folks left. My folks and me stayed. We worked the land on shares for 3 years, then moved to other land near the master's place. I stayed with my folks till days died, and then I went to work for others folks. If my memorandum am correct, it ain't 30 years ago that I's come to Fort Worth. Here I's work for white folks as the cook till I goes blind. That am about 10 years ago. Married? Never. No sir. One experience am enough for this nigga. After what I's do for the master, I's never want any truck with any man. The Lord forgive this colored woman, but he have to excuse me and look for some other persons for to replenish the earth. Anyway, it's too late now. I's done lived my life. For the last 10 years, my white and colored folk friends tend me having food and a place to sleep. I's thankful for that. In a little while, this nigga will go to Jordan, and then we shall have rest and peace.